Hi everybody, yes, welcome to another one of our member showcase videos for local Lichfield and Tamworth Chamber members. Today I've got with me Peter Howard from PhD Design. Peter, pleasure to see you. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you, sir. And how's yourself?
Yes, very well indeed, very well indeed. No, thanks for joining us this afternoon. As we were discussing just before we pressed the start button and the record button, keen really to interview and speak to you today about some of the updates you've got as a business, as a long-standing chamber member. PhD Design have been members for almost 30 years of the Lichfield and Tamworth Chamber, which is nearly as long as I've been on this planet. So it's a very, very long time. Thanks for that.
That's made me feel absolutely marvellous.
But yeah, I think today's really about that understanding. And obviously, you when we were discussing previously, the key thing from your business very much is the Design Week Top 100 that you were rewarded for last year. Just tell us a little bit about that about the business and about that award and how that's helped you as a business in the past 12 months.
Yeah, I'd love to. Some of your viewers may well have heard of Design Week or maybe not, but I'll give you the quick top and tail. So Design Week is a publication by Centaur Publications in London, and they're a world-renowned resource of the truth within the sphere of design. They pass comment on, they put white papers together, they lobby for this, that and the other, all in the auspices of design. And every few years, they collate a list of the top recommended agencies and designers that they have checked and tested and audited. So we put in for it when we were requested to. So it's definitely they ask you if you want to take part. Yeah. And they ask sort of about 1,000, maybe 1,500 agencies throughout the country who have already reached certain criteria. Mm-hmm. Number one criteria that you've got to be going more than 2 years. And they put you through a whole series of challenges. So you're checked, you're audited, you have to submit your financial year accounts for 4 or 5 years on the bounce. You have to show your PAYE track record to see if you've got a high staff churn or a low staff churn. They interview a selection of customers. You have to put some customers forward, obviously with permissions. Yeah. They have a look at your actual work. They look at the return on investment that you've been able to achieve with projects for clients. That and a whole host of other things. Yeah. That then is audited by separate auditors, which are nothing to do with Design Week, so that it's all absolutely squeaky clean and above board. It's an accountancy firm that audits it. So they can't really have a bias on design because they just do adding up theoretically.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's accountants out there that would want to lynch me for that, but I didn't mean it in that way. So it's independently audited, and hey presto, we came out as within the top 100. I think the key thing is that we've got 29 years under our belt. We've been through a couple of recessions. We're financially strong. You know, we don't have any debt to speak of. We don't have any overdrafts. Our staff churn is low. Our client retention is fantastic. We've still got our very first client from 1992.
Wow. That shows the sort of the
it does, yeah.
So that award, that's great. Wow, fantastic. And you mentioned obviously you're based in Lichfield in Staffordshire, as we should say, as a member of the chamber in Lichfield. And am I right in saying that was one of the only businesses sort of in Staffordshire that were sort of named in that top one?
Well, not surprisingly, the vast majority are in London. But yeah, within the Midlands area, there are 3 design companies on the top 100 list, and 2 are in Birmingham and 1 is in Staffordshire, and that one is us. So we are the only company in Staffordshire to reach that particular accolade. So it is quite something that we're rightfully proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not something that is easily won, but it's something that we're chuffed with.
Fantastic, and that, as you say, that obviously gives a big sort of shout and a push to your staff to be proud for working for a business that's very much sort of given an accolade in that regard, which sounds
well. It helps everybody out. So any staff that we've got here, when they move on, if they want to move on, I mean, we've got a great policy of trying to keep as many people as we can. But if anybody wants to move on, it's a great tick on their CV to say that they work for a nationally internationally ranked top 100 agency in the UK, especially as the UK is definitely ranked as the best in the world for graphic design and marketing. So yeah, it is. It's a nice tick on people's CV, as well as for us, the business.
Yeah, as a business, brilliant. Well, yeah, and I suppose we're in a time where where good news is sometimes a little bit thin on the ground in the current situation. It's great that you're able to talk about that, and just tell us a bit about, obviously, with relation to the lockdown and the current sort of situation we have. Just tell me a bit about the work that you the business have done to help some of your your clients and help other businesses, and again, show that support for the local business community.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. There's some clients that we've done work for in the lockdown where they've, let's say, been hit harder than other companies. And we know them, and we know them quite well, whether we do work with them already or whether we just know them. And we thought, you know what, we're in a very fortunate position because we've looked after ourselves and we've saved over the years. So we're not as hard hit as some people. So why not use the time where work has been a little bit sparse to actually do some good? Yeah. So we've helped out a number of companies during this COVID crisis. Amongst those, there is a rape and sexual violence charity that operates in Birmingham. That was quite an interesting project because we had to give them a bold, recognisable brand for their whole organisation that didn't look like it had been done on the back of a fag packet by the person who started it. But equally, it didn't look particularly recognisable as a rape and sexual violence charity. And the key reason for that is that the vast majority of perpetrators are in the home. So if the app gets looked over by a shoulder, the last thing you want to do is to cause any more upset or provocation. So that was quite a delicate project to work on. Another one was a local pub in a village near our office. Absolutely hit really hard, as every pub is.
The pub traders do usually hit.
Yeah. And they really wanted to come back with a big splash when they were allowed to reopen. So we got talking to them and we said, well, why don't we do that? We've got lots of experience in the brewery trade. We've worked for breweries up and down the country. Why don't we just use some of that 30 odd years experience and give it them for free? So what we did was we held a competition. We put out a note to lots of people. We put it on LinkedIn, we put it on social media, and we asked people if they've got a project that they want to get done but can't afford it for whatever reason, send us your information, send us what you want, and we will basically make a decision. So we had about 50 odd, something like that, replies, and some frankly were an utter waste of time, but some were very plausible, and we whittled it down. We said we were going to choose one, and that one winner was the pub. Yeah. But when we looked at the charity in the middle of Birmingham, we looked at what they'd got and we looked at what they do, we couldn't say no. So the one became two. And then, because we're actually quite nice people, a couple of the other designers then said, well, what about this one and what about this one? And we ended up doing half a dozen, if I'm brutally honest.
That's great. But I think that shows, doesn't it, that this current lockdown and the last 6 months has been incredibly tough for businesses, but it's been a time for them to reflect. It's been a time for them to help where they can, but also businesses who are really struggling have really seen the community come together and support them in any way that they can. And I think that's an important part of the business community and the business reaction to COVID-19 that has happened, and hopefully that'll certainly hold those organisations and yourself in good stead as we move forward, which I'm sure
absolutely true. We've got a very simple mantra here at PHT, and it consists of just two things. And one is just be honest, because if you're honest, it sets you free. You don't have to remember stuff. And the other one is just be more nice. Yeah. And if you've got the opportunity to do something nice for someone and it's not going to put you out, well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Good mantra to keep. And we mentioned, again, we were talking about design, and it shows that the 50 applications, obviously, for that charity sort of offer, shows that there is a lot of businesses that need to look at their design and probably are aware that they should be, but given this time have done. So just for businesses watching and listening, just give us your sort of 3 top tips on design and how it can help business and some of the experience you've picked up along the way.
Wow. Trying to distill all that into 3 things,
3 nuggets.
You've
got 2 minutes.
It's really, I have jotted some notes down, but fundamentally, tell a story. If there's one thing you can do with any kind of design to do with marketing, because that's what generally design is all about, is tell a story. People love stories, people engage with stories, people buy stories. If you've got a story that's worth telling, tell it well and tell it in an engaging, well-designed manner. I suppose that'd be one, tell a story.
Yeah.
Number two would be, don't do too much. There's so many businesses out there that when they get a certain amount of space, let's say it's an advert or a website, they want to cram it full.
Sometimes.
And that just becomes a wall of noise, and people then just go, can't be bothered. So keep the message simple, keep it simple, pare it back, and then people will become engaged and they'll want to know more. And lastly, and I do say this one quite a lot, is stop weeing on people, because nobody likes being weed on. And again, many companies say, we do this, we do that, we're the best at this, we. And unless you're a bit of a special interest person, that's not fun. So don't wee on people, just understand where their pain is and demonstrate that you understand where their pain is and that you've got something that can fix it.
Absolutely. I think they're three as good a tips as tips as possible, and very well put in clear ways, which is what your design work, I'm sure, is very much all about. So I think, really good tips. No, thank you. Really appreciate that, Peter. And I say, I think, we should note again that you've been such a long-standing member of the chamber over many years. It's great that you're with us, and certainly in these times, offering the local business community and some of your contacts and advice, some opportunity to learn from you from there. So we wish you all the best. Obviously, stay in touch as always. Good luck with the projects that you've got going, and we'll looking forward to coming back, perhaps to your offices in good time when we're socially distantly able to.
As long as you don't say another 30 years, because chances are I'm not going to be in this place in 30 years' time. But yes,
I'll hold you to that.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Good talking to you.
Pleasure.
Cheers now.